study of human anatomy, it is important to understand that you're essentially now learning a new language. And this language is going to help us better describe how parts of our body relate to one another, or to better help us understand how different structures are named. So some of the different structures within the various systems of the body are going to have names that might at first seem confusing. However, if you understand that these are based on Latin or Greek origins, and you know the name relates to some kind of a descriptive feature, that will help with our comprehension of how these different structures were named and why we call them the things we do. Now, the language of anatomy we often call anatomical terminology, and one of the first concepts we need to understand is that the human body has sort of a default or a resting position that will help us better describe how the various parts or structures relate to one another. The first concept of anatomical position is that the body is standing erect or upright, and this will help us know that we're not sitting down or bent forward as we describe how things relate to one another. We can see that the head is directed towards the front of the body, as are the eyes. So our gaze is directed towards the front and our head is straight forward. The upper limbs are going to be positioned down to the sides of the body in a relaxed orientation. They're not held close up against our side or spread out far apart, and we're not using any energy to keep them upright. The palms of our hands are directed anteriorly, which means to the front, and they're not rotated. So again, we don't have the palm of our hand facing towards our thigh or towards the back of our body. Lastly, the feet are approximately shoulder-width apart with the toes directed to the front. So they're not going to be pigeon-toed, we're not knock-kneed, we're not having our feet splayed out to the sides with too much orientation. So if we understand how the body is positioned in space, it will help us more accurately describe how the different component parts relate to one another. And we'll build on this terminology as we move forward.